In Why China Will Never Rule the World, you talk about China's military and the historical roots of its modernization efforts. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, well, the military modernization efforts we see underway in China today possibly have to do with the Korean War and most definitely have to do with the Sino-Vietnamese War, which took place in 1979. In Korea, China's strategy was to try and overwhelm South Korean and UN forces with sheer numbers. It sent in 1 million troops and lost hundreds of thousands of them because many weren't armed and there was no air support and comparatively little artillery support. As you know, in my book, I interviewed a former PLA soldier who fought in Korea, and he told me he wasn't even given a rifle and was quite stunned by the sight of American fighter planes because he'd never seen an airplane before. In Vietnam, the Chinese employed a similar strategy, large numbers of troops, about 400,000. Only this time, they had more hardware, such as tanks, but it didn't work. The PLA got a thrashing in Vietnam and withdrew only a month after they invaded. China declared victory and then set about building a modern military. The Chinese Communist Party has admitted that during the 1990s, military spending outpaced any other sector of the national budget. The United States Defense Intelligence Agency has calculated that in 2010, China's actual military budget, it's believed China doesn't report fully on its expenditures, was around $145 billion. Now that the United States is winding down from 9/11 and its involvement in Iraq and Afghanistan, it's realizing that China has been working hard towards shifting the balance of power in the Asia-Pacific region. The US is aware that if it doesn't act, its domination in the region might be threatened. China is still a long way from rivaling the US in conventional weaponry, but it has made significant strides in that area. The PLA Air Force has boosted its offensive capabilities and is planning on upgrading its old aircraft while deploying some 3,000 new aircraft. And then there are its advances in submarines. Tom Clancy once wrote that tracking a Chinese submarine was about as difficult as following a blind man through an empty parking lot on a sunny Sunday afternoon, but no longer. In 2006, a Chinese sub surfaced undetected within torpedo range of the USS Kitty Hawk when it was near Okinawa. China's got 10 Russian-made ultra-quiet Kilo-class subs, possibly armed with anti-ship cruise missiles with a range of 200 kilometers. Also, it's believed that China is planning on building 3 aircraft carrier groups. Its first aircraft carrier has just recently undergone sea trials. In addition to conventional weaponry, China has made enormous strides in cyber warfare and space warfare strategies, especially in the realm of advanced anti-satellite weapon systems. So, what does all this mean? Well, perhaps it doesn't mean anything. Perhaps it's just the quote-unquote normal behavior of a country coming into its own. But I would posit that it's all very ominous. China practices what can be called the politics of historical revenge. As I pointed out earlier, its annexation of Tibet was based on that premise, and so was its involvement in the Korean War. As I've also pointed out, China constantly lambasts the West for supposedly derailing China's greatness during the 19th century. Presently, anti-Western sentiment in China is all but official policy. It's not a mystery to me why China is beefing up its military. Whether it's a mystery or even a concern to other people, I'm not sure. But I think the giveaway clue is that China's actions are not in keeping with its words. China says it has never invaded another country, yet it invaded Tibet and Vietnam and interceded in Korea. It's had border skirmishes with India and Russia, and it's fought against Taiwan. It says its rise is peaceful, yet just recently, Hu Jintao told its navy to prepare for war. China always defends its military buildup by saying it's defensive in nature, but an aircraft carrier, let alone 3 aircraft carrier groups, is not a defensive entity. I'm not going to hazard any predictions, but I do think we need to watch to see how things unfold.